Alright guys, I kind of wanted to show you this thing. Um, it's beautiful, but it's not correct. This is um, as far as I can tell, a uh, k98 AZ or A or something of that nature. So just to show you just like how much was done to this thing. It is 17 inches for one, just pure 17 inches. It is skirting by the legal SBR length, and it's an 8 millimeter, so it still has the original barrel in it. But the problem is this thing would kick because this is incredibly light for what it is. Um, and it would also breathe fire. So it would kick like a mule and breathe like a dragon. So that's not kind of what I want. Also, if I get down here real quick, the I do believe there's a lot of modifications obviously done. I don't know if this right here is necessarily a aftermarket piece or uh, if it was done at the time. I don't know of any uh, places doing a K98 up like this, but to go to serve that, the barrel also has a bit of a divot in it, a wedge in it. I think they also lathed the barrel all the way down, because if you put a like a K98 front sight on it, it just goes all the way down to here. And if you put a Gewehr front sight on it, it doesn't even fit past this part or the tip of the gun. Um, uh, Finding a scope for this thing is pretty freaking hard because I don't know what actually fits in any of these things. The stock is also an issue because if you notice this, that is a small ring stock, or that's a small ring Mauser. Um, and that puts up a whole bunch of other issues. Uh, this thing at one point had this weird safety here. I never understood why you need two safeties when, the K98. Get this guy up here, and you always have, your stock or your safety there. But the thing is just, it's a strange, like, most of the parts match, at least on the receiver, the barrel, and the plate there. Yeah, 42, 42. I thought it was on one of these two, but anyway, they got a different thing here, because you can see the inside of this was milled out to accept a different type of trigger than this one. Well, the double trigger would be nice. I'm not looking for it. I'm trying to restore these things back to what they once were, rather than like another bubbified thing. But the problem is like, finding the original parts for one of these things is really damn near impossible. Finding original stock, no, 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 no. Finding an original barrel, no, 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 no. Finding the bolt that actually fit on one of these, because the bolts on one of these are actually, they are cut kind of like in the middle here, and they have the rounded edge, but then they're flat on the inside. There's that. Obviously, the stock it's a beautiful piece. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice looking, like, really inlet piece, but I'm not looking for that. I'm trying to put this back to a military standard. Obviously, it's an older version, I do believe, because of the two screws. But if you see, there's only one screw here because they filled it in at some point right down here. The problem with one of these, like the originals, obviously, I can't remember the exact barrel length. I imagine they're around 24, 23, give or take. Um, and the stock is a little bit different than your standard K98. The K98 is has its own look. The other one had like a boxed-in sight, kind of like a almost like a Lee Enfield Mark III #1 sight, or it's like it's two posts that protect the main post. It had a swivel on the end, like a not a swivel, a stacking rod that came off this, like came out and then poked back up. And that was at the very end, It had, I think, a slightly different bayonet lug. I'm not entirely sure on that one. I forget exactly, but it has to fit over the stacking, or the front sight and the stacking swivel and all that. But that's slightly different from everything else. And I just, like, this thing is, I don't know. I can't really, like, I want to return it back to what it is, but this seems like there's a lot to do on this thing to even get it back, and a lot of the things I can do on this don't really exist per se. Like maybe going on eBay for a long period of time and then just, I don't know. But this, I, I, I know they made also shorter versions of the Car 98, uh, like short, like this, where it's 17 inches, but I can't verify that this would be that. And the fact that there's a scope mount on this thing. There's another stone here. I just have it downstairs because I was trying to figure out what kind of scope would fit into it. But um, that's another issue, is finding something that would fit, or not that, but right here, fit these two things. Because I bought a scope online, really nice one, but it did not fit either one of these um, bits. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I can't tell, and I don't know what I can do with this thing, because finding small ring Mauser stocks that are German, not like Brazilian or anything like that, are pretty difficult. Obviously, it's been also reblued at some point in its life, but whatever. It's it's kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt, because obviously, small bore is a little bit different than your large bore. And if you're wondering the difference between the small rings, or small bore, never mind what I said there, small ring and large ring. Small rings will have this, where it goes completely straight, goes all the way around. Like this is completely straight. The large rings will actually, this part of the receiver will actually kind of jut out just a slight bit, where if you went back, you'd bump and then come back around. They're slightly bigger. One thing that you should always keep in mind is there's big ones, intermediate ones, and everything else. There's a lot of research to do on one of these things, but this stuff right here is just like, the small rings kind of fall into a weird category, where I think is, I'm not entirely sure, like Brazilian, or I forget exactly which Mauser, but they had small rings, and like there's some people who say that with a small ring you need to be careful with the power, like how powerful that round is that you're packing in there, because they can go. Of course, I have never really fired it, or I have never fired this thing before, so I wouldn't be able to really know. But yeah, I kind of at a standstill with this project, because I don't know what to really do with it, because I can't really do a lot with it. It is kind of where it is right now, and I just kind of have to wait and see. If anybody knows like what kind of scope mount would actually fit this style of scope back here, it's just got a little stone that has it's just a little stone that fits inside here. So if anybody knows, just let me know. I'm just kind of, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, adios.